Hey, good morning, guys. Michael Clark with Pam Weather. Just going over some of the latest guidance here from the model runs last night, and thought I'd give you a little preview of just kind of how I go through things. Really, this is a more of a you know hangout, if you will, on what I'm looking at. This isn't a structured long range update by any means. Got my coffee here, and just kind of going over some things. So I want to show you, some of the latest thought processes in my head as I'm just kind of internalized, thought process on where's the pattern going, what's going on. If you watched my video from Thursday, a lot of the same thoughts are really holding steady in that video. But let's talk about some weather and look at some things going on here real quick. I'll tell you what, over on our platform here on Clarity, got a nice big snow coming in the central U.S. here. Really, really cool to see this visualized here on 7-day forecast on the map. 13 inches of snow coming out here. We have the chances tab where we can look at the range and the ensemble data with what this particular location is forecasting. So the larger the color bar, the more, the lower the confidence in the forecast. So it's pretty impressive to see the ensembles ranging from 5 to 12 inches in that particular location. You can do rain, snow, ice, temperature, all that fun stuff. If the color bar is smaller, all right, confidence is higher. There's not as big of a spread in low temperature. Check that out right there. Lows -4 to 17 next Friday. A big cold shot coming. But Clarity does one of many things, but that's a newer feature that's in dev right now that we're checking out. That's pretty cool. So wanted to show that to you. But let me show you a few things. I've obviously got the Christmas jazz going in the background. Listening to some music here this morning. But I kind of just want to illustrate my thought processes to you. First and foremost, this is the all-model EPO forecast, and this is really what I'm watching very, very closely, if not the closest right now is, this big period here is what's delivering the cold to end the year and open up the new year, and it's probably going to deliver a pretty big storm system too. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But I'm really, really interested in what's going on here around January 7th or 8th with the possible retreat of the North Pacific block. That's where I get worried about warmer risks for a time here into mid-January based on the MJO evolution. Now, what is interesting is the latest all-model Arctic oscillation forecast suggesting more of a negative Arctic oscillation and a negative North Atlantic oscillation. That's because of what's going on with the polar vortex and how we're moving it. So we have a little bit of an interesting forecast here as we go forward in terms of confidence levels of, when's that cold going to arrive? Or when's the mild air going to arrive, if you will. So let's take a look at a couple different things here. First and foremost, I want to show you the MJO forecast. All right, this is kind of what's tossing wrenches in my mind is the evolution of the MJO going through 2 and 3. Now, into 2 and 3, positive AAM with the El Nino. That's an Arctic shot of cold air, no question. That's really what's going to deliver the cold Arctic blast. But it's phase 4. Phase 4 is not friendly, it's warm. And I think that's where it offers up the mid-January warmth, okay? I'll show you kind of that, go here on my model page here. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. This is the EPS on our private link that we use. There's the positive angular momentum. It's the observations already starting to show that kind of go up. Again, this is our private data. We don't really make this stuff public, but it's there for us to use internally, make forecast decisions with and whatnot. But let me show you the outcome here of the temperature forecast from the EPS. Obviously, we know it's very warm. Okay, here getting into early next week, it's incredible. I mean, it's just incredibly warm. Almost early spring-like feeling up there in the Great Lakes and Northeast. But then as we go forward, the front does come through. And right in time for New Year's Eve, just a big shot of cold air. Okay, New Year's Eve is going to be cold, no question about it. Colder from normal the further south and east that you go. And that Arctic air really starts to settle in. Okay, it's not the coldest you've ever seen, but by January 5th and the evening of January 5th, day 14, it's a very cold forecast in the east. All right, there's really no question about that. And so to ask ourselves, what funnels that in? Let's head over to Tropical Tidbits real quick and look at the forecast model. This is the GFS 6C run. And again, you can see there's a Christmas storm system going to bring the snow out of there in the central plains. Rain up into the north and east. Snow on the backside, upper level low kind of hangs out. And you see we've got snow showers, lake effect snow as well. Getting into New Year's Eve will probably be a very cold and snowy forecast. We've got to watch a little southern tier system here, a little slider early next week. If that storm can deepen and trend west, watch out for the East Coast. Possible snow event risk there getting into New Year's Day. But we think there's going to be a relatively pretty big storm. In fact, yesterday's 18Z run really had a really, really big storm. Now, these are voodoo runs, but we have a big storm system January 5th through the 7th that continues to show up on our charts. And so that when the GFS kind of sniffs out some bigger potential storms, we know there's going to be a big one in there that'll bring some cold for a time. Okay. So that's what's kind of bringing that in. But here's what I'm noticing this morning that I'm not super encouraged with is the day 15 EPS is kind of, look, here's day 10's nice, right? Heck, I mean, even day 13 is really nice. You got the poleward extended block up here across northwest Canada into Alaska. But watch what happens. That fades away pretty quickly. Now we do see the development potentially of an east-based negative NAO. That's going to be great for potential snow. Don't get me wrong. I think the first 10 days of January, there's a couple of snowstorms. Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, no question. I think it can be there. The question is going to become, that mild period, mid-January, I do think is there. However, okay, with that said, here's what I want to get into. Latest forecast. Most of in fact, over 50% of the EPS members now are suggesting a complete wind reversal, a sudden stratospheric warming event, and a possible total breakdown of the polar vortex. This is the GFS ensemble. It's very simple to spot the SSW. Okay, sudden stratospheric warming is you take the coldest temperature, move it over, warmest temperature runs right over it. We completely push the vortex off the pole here over into East Greenland. Negative NAO develops. And then what we have to watch for, we want to watch for where that cold air goes, okay, if we can see a breakdown there. Okay, again, look at the height anomalies here from the GFS ensemble. Watch this. Okay, we kind of spin it around here. Note the vortex. See what starts to happen at the end? Okay, watch. At the end, you start to see the development of possibly two different centers of rotation there in that vortex. I'm going to show you the operational now. Look here at the end on the operational GFS. Look where it tries to send the core of the vortex. If that can be the case, if the vortex can get shoved over into Canada, 0Z kind of did the same thing. That's where things get very, very interesting, especially as we get into further into the month of January. That's where I really think that, if this thing can do what we want it to do, it's really, really possible that late January into February could be very cold and snowy for many, many folks. The GFS, it has a bias to keep this thing warmer, or stronger, if you will, in the vortex. We do have 39% of the GEFS members suggesting a complete wind reversal as well in that. And so, again, my thought process was on Thursday is that the first 10 days of January, cold and stormy. A couple of big storms, couple of big snows, certainly colder than normal. I'm worried sometime between the 10th and 20th of January for a significant milder period due to the phase 4 of the MJO. The timing is really up in the air post January 20th of what the vortex is going to do and where that cold's going to go. Right now, we can only say January 20th beyond. I think there's a significant risk for colder, potentially significant major cold, and snowy. If that Arctic oscillation, that negative AO can establish, in the when you look at the Arctic oscillation, you're looking at surface pressure in the northern hemisphere, and if we can really see that established, let me see if I can grab the EPS here. If we can really see that set up, that's really going to help our chances for true Arctic air delivery, and at least displacing the Arctic air. And we're starting to see, you can see that this really starting to indicate higher pressure being at least more present in the northern hemisphere. And again, we look at that all model Arctic oscillation forecast. It's encouraging. I'm just questioning how quickly. Is it too quick? I'm concerned there could be too quick in that regard. But we're continuously. You see what happened here. I mean, good night. I mean, you can see that this model can do this. These are a bunch of failed attempts and negative, and it did not do that. So I don't want to speed this up. I don't want it to be too quick in terms of how that comes. Nonetheless, it's encouraging signals for late January as of right now. Now, if the vortex completely breaks down and splits, and the stratospheric and tropospheric vortex can come down into to Canada, it's a different story. Then all of a sudden it gets cold fast. I don't currently see that yet. Okay, so that's kind of the latest thoughts. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. This isn't even really any kind of official forecast, just kind of a way of me getting you to see what I'm thinking about, what I'm looking at. I can show you one other thing here too, if if anyone's even still watching. Go down here to my link. This is the ensembles, the mega ensembles, and these are the clusters. So we break these down: European, Canadian, American model into clusters. Again, these aren't available to the public, but you can see 6 to 10 day, 11 to 15 day clusters, and solid agreement there in cold, right? I think no question. I think day 10. Here's go down to day 15 real quick. Day 15's taking us out to I don't even know, January 7th or so, maybe right now. Solid delivery of cold air. The thing we need to look at day 15 are the heights, right? And my concern with day 15 heights right now is the suggestion that the Alaskan blocking it could start to let up a little bit. Okay, but I don't think we get necessarily super mild until after the 10th of January. So that's kind of the latest. Here's a week 2 look at the superclusters. Okay, 8 to 14 day average. Breaking down the individual clusters. High confidence in the week 2 forecast right now. And here's what I like about the clusters here along the coast for week 2 is I definitely think there's a bigger storm in there, and the clusters are starting to pick up on that. Okay, they're starting to see the potential for a bigger storm at least being picked up on. So I've rambled enough. You might take away nothing from this. You might take away something. I want to watch where the vortex goes. I don't want to be the guy that says, big breakdown, coldest winter we've seen forever, and it's going to get crazy. Is that on the table? Yes. But we don't want to put the horse before the cart there, if you will, in that regard. So have a wonderful day, guys, and enjoy your holiday weekend here. Merry Christmas to you, and we'll talk to you soon.